Hi guys. It's been a little bit of time since I've put up a video, and I realized I had been kind of neglectful on that, so I apologize. I also apologize for the quality of this video. I can see myself in the screen, and I don't know why my movements are delayed past my what I'm saying, so I'm not sure if I was more technology oriented, and I could probably fix it. Anyway, it's been a really rough couple of days, which isn't all that different from what it has been, but particularly rough. Yesterday was Monday, the start of my third week in treatment, and my weekend went better than the first one. My husband was a little bit more communicative, and it it was okay. I mean, I was glad, but at the same time, I don't have that connection, that relationship connection with him anymore, to the point where I was, actually really cared. I love him, I do, but I just felt like there was nothing there in response to what he was doing or saying. But I was still nice to him. I'm still saying I love you because I do. Monday morning was the meeting with a social worker that does a lot of the intake evaluations and family counseling. And he basically just said, tell your husband that we have a meeting, in the morning at like 8:15, and really don't give him an option, because if I gave him an option, he was most likely going to find a reason why not to come. So I told him Friday when I got home that we had an appointment scheduled, and that it was, kind of compulsory. So over the weekend, he was really nice to me, talked to me a lot. We have an inside joke that involves his toenail being painted purple, and it was like a sign of affection between him and I that I would ask him, hey, can I paint your toenail purple? And he would let me, and it was like, on Toy Story when Andy like writes his name on Woody's foot. It was kind of like that, like claiming him as mine, and it was kind of a thing that we had. He hadn't let me do that in about a year because he had said it ruined his toenail and he didn't want it on there anymore. And so I'd asked him over and over again to do it, and he just kept saying no, so I finally just stopped and gave up. This last weekend, he put on his purple toenail without asking me and was acting like it was a big deal. And I was like, yeah, that's cute. I'm glad you did it. But I saw it as emotionally manipulative because he knew that the family meeting was Monday. And it's like, why in an entire year that you've told me no, did you just randomly put it on yourself? And I'm kind of a suspicious person. I'm a critical thinker like that. So it's like, I can't just look at the surface value and say, it was a nice gesture. I saw it as manipulative. And so I wasn't really looking forward to the family meeting because I was pretty sure I was going to need to say something like that. The social worker asked us some questions about our relationship and the support network that I feel I do or do not have, and asked my husband a lot of questions. He behaved the way he does normally at home, which I was glad to see because he wasn't going to be putting on airs for someone that was different and make me look like I was crazy. But at the same time, it was embarrassing because it's like, this is who I'm married to. And if we weren't married right now, I don't think we'd be together. He would ask him questions about our relationship, and my husband would just start like rambling, talking about something completely different, which he does. He interrupted me, he interrupted the social worker, and it was what I expected it to be. I met with the social worker then at the end of the day for him to give me his feedback on our family meeting, and his summary basically was, your husband is self-focused and off topic and emotionally distant, Um, it was validating because that's exactly what I see and what I deal with, and it's probably who he's always been, but I'm really good at ignoring people's downfalls when I'm first in a relationship with them. And so this is now like 3 or 4 years, and this is what I keep doing. I keep picking partners that fulfill a need for me at the time, uh, and then I feel like I end up outgrowing them, and I lose that emotional connection. It's like, if you push me away long enough, I'm going to push you back, you know. So now I'm sitting on this idea that I don't want to be with my husband anymore. There's a house for sale in my town that I love. It's beautiful. It's big. It needs a lot of work, but I can do it, and I want to. I can get it super cheap, you know, and my mortgage would be like literally $200 a month, you know. It's a small town, cheap house, you know. But my husband has made it very clear to me that he doesn't want to move into a house we need to do work on, because he doesn't want to do that the rest of his life. He doesn't want to have kids, which I think maybe eventually I'd want to have. By the time, you know, my husband is significantly older than I am, and by the time my husband would be gone, I'll be too old. And he's told me, well, you can adopt then, you know, if you're too old to have biological kids. And that to me isn't necessarily the solution. So I'm just thinking I've made a bad decision, and that's a really tough thing to face. So I've been very much struggling with that over the last 2 days, and what it boiled down to is the social worker basically said, as much as you may love someone, as much as you may feel responsible for someone, if they're not fulfilling your needs, you need to figure out what to do about that. And so right now I have a really big choice. Either I put my needs first and I ask my husband to leave, or I keep him around and be unhappy. I'm not happy with him anymore. Sorry. This is what I've been doing the last 2 days. So that's been pretty tough. I went back to my hotel that night and binged. I ordered a pizza. I was too emotionally wrought after the family meeting to eat breakfast. They tried to tell me to go get my breakfast and eat it, and I just broke down. I was like, I can't eat. I am so upset. I cannot physically put food in my body. And they humored me for a while. They let me calm down, and they let me go to a group, and then after that, the girls in the group actually said, you know, it's really important for you to eat. And if you don't eat now, you're going to set yourself up for failure. So 2 of the girls from group went down to the lunchroom with me for me to get some food. And that was pretty nice, because I felt like I had a support. That these other girls that are struggling with their problems, that are, you know, same as or different than mine, cared enough about me to make sure that I wasn't sabotaging myself. And I have, you know, a really easy time helping other people. You know, if I know there's a girl that likes to purge after lunch, I'll make sure to stick with her, you know, so make sure she doesn't have the opportunity. You know, if there's a girl that self-harms, I message her, you know, on Facebook at night and just check in on her, you know, because that's when she self-harms. But when someone does it for me, it's overwhelming, because I don't feel like I'm worth that support. So anyway, I got a little bit of food, and I like some cheese and like grapes and stuff, like nothing too much. And as the day got on, I felt a little bit better, you know, and I ate a little bit at lunch,
And then dinner came around and I didn't want to eat anything. So I waited and waited and waited and didn't eat anything until it was like late at night, and I got just really depressed, and I ordered a medium pizza, and I ate 3/4 of it, and then a thing of like the cinnamon dessert stick things, and I ate that entire thing, and drank 2 Cokes. So then of course I felt disgusting and I threw it all up, or as much of it as I could get out. So I confessed it at group today and told them what happened, and they were all really supportive again and just said, you're going through some shit. It's to be expected, and how do we learn better coping skills? So yeah, so I was honest about that. Towards the end of the day, I brought up in one of the groups that the struggle that I'm having with my relationship, and what do I need to do, and the psychotherapist, who was really pretty fantastic, had me back talk the situation with my husband and ask me whys, and he does that, and he gets to answers that stun us. Like, we had no idea that we were feeling something or thinking something that came from something completely different. So he backtracked my thought process until I got to the point where we hit upon the fact that ultimately I feel like I'm unlikable. That it's just something about me. I'm inherently unlikable. I don't have friends. I can't make friends. I don't understand how people connect socially. It seems like it's a science that I just can't grasp. And he picked up on that, and he said, I think that's where it comes from, is that you just ultimately feel unlikable. And he said, well, we're going to do an experiment. And I was like, oh, great, what's that? And he turned and looked at the girl next to him, and he said, do you like Amanda? And she said, yeah. And he went around the room, and he asked every person in that room if they liked me. And they all said they did. And that was really hard to hear. It was really hard to hear that they all liked me. Because the first thing my brain wanted to go to was, well, they like me because they're in group. We're all messed up, and we're just stuck together, so of course they're going to say they like me. And they all were like, no. They were like, we're friends on Facebook, we're going to talk. One girl was like, I only have like 70 friends, you're one of them. The other one was like, I only accept friend requests from people I really dig. It was really awesome, but it felt bad, it felt gross for everyone to be saying that they liked me, because it's like, as much as I feel like I'm not likable and nobody does like me, but I want to be liked, when you actually hear people say it, this is what I did in that group too. So, I don't know if any of you guys can relate to that. When I was a kid, I got invited to a birthday party. And they locked me in a closet all night long. I used to not be able to say that without hyperventilating. I feel like if I could just, buy a piece of property and have 1 million animals and not have to interact with another human being my whole life, I would be infinitely more happy. But I know that's not living. I know that's ultimately not going to get me what I want. Sorry, guys. So anyway, I binged and purged on Monday night and got a lot of support today. It was really was really good. It doesn't look like it was good, but it was good. I guess that's everything. I'm sorry I ran kind of long today. I hope you guys have a good night. I'm going to try to.